This is the 6th generation iPad from 2018, but should you buy it in 2023? You can find them used for around 175 to 225 euros, and that depends on the condition but also on the storage. The build quality of the iPad 6th generation still feels really nice in my opinion. It has a nice aluminium back and the buttons are also aluminium and they feel really nice. It also has a good weight to it, it's not too heavy but also not too light, so it's easy to carry around. We have a lightning port to charge but also a headphone jack, so you can plug in headphones, and that's really nice because the iPhones don't have that anymore. The battery life of the iPad is very surprising in my opinion. We just went for a walk and we used it a bit and it's still at 96% I think. Yes, it's still at 96% and that's very good battery life. And you can definitely get through the day, and if you don't use it a lot, 2 days. But the charging is very slow because the battery is pretty large, so you probably want to charge it overnight. The screen is also very nice. It's a 60Hz panel and it can go pretty bright. It isn't the brightest when you are outside, so if you are in direct sunlight then you might not be able to see the screen that well. But for normal everyday tasks it works great. And I also like the colors of the display. They look very nice and pretty accurate. The screen does have kind of big bezels, and that can sometimes be a little bit annoying, but once you're focused on the content, you won't really notice it that much. It comes in 32 or 128 gigabytes. It has dual speakers, and the sound quality of them is pretty good. They can get pretty loud, but they aren't comparable to any Bluetooth speakers of course, because the device is pretty thin, so you can't get large speakers inside a tablet that's this thin. Another really nice thing about the iPad is that it has a fingerprint sensor on the bottom, and it's very fast and also reliable. You can quickly tap it and then it unlocks immediately. The camera is definitely not one of the reasons why you will buy an iPad. It's definitely not terrible, it's just decent and you can get some okay images out of it. And the video is also decent and it has slow motion. It's the same one that's being used in the iPhone 5S. Of course it's not good in low light at all and the dynamic range isn't the best, but for a tablet it's pretty decent. The software on this thing is great. It runs on iPadOS 17, which is still the latest version. So that means that you can still install almost all apps. It isn't an iPad Pro, so you can't install Final Cut Pro, but most apps should work fine. It still feels very smooth and you can quickly browse through the internet and do stuff with it, and I was surprised at the performance. It isn't the fastest in the world, but because it's on the latest version you can probably keep using it for a few years, and also because it has a good battery life. The user interface is also pretty nice, and also compared to Android tablets it has much better apps in my opinion. Most Android tablets can't even compare when it comes to apps. There are so many fun iPad apps, but you can't install full macOS things of course, so it won't be like a Surface Pro. Everything works fine and there are almost no issues at all. It's very stable and it also works pretty fast. So that's very nice in my opinion. So should you buy one in 2023? It depends. The base model only has 32 gigabytes and that isn't that much of storage. Most apps take up 2 or 3 gigabytes. And some even much more. So getting the base 32 gigabytes model isn't the best option unless you do almost nothing with it and only browse the internet. It's not even that expensive and you can still do a lot of things with it. The battery life is still good, most apps still work fine, and the performance is also great. But keep in mind that the updates will probably stop after this, so you probably won't be able to use it for a very long period of time. It doesn't mean that the iPad is unusable, but it does mean that some apps might stop working. Are you planning on buying one or do you already have one? Let me know in the comments down below, and thank you so much for watching.